Oh, that was fast. It's never moved that fast before.
Wow.
We're already live. Look at that. Excellent, excellent. See if anybody pops on here. Oh, we got two people. Hello, two people. Can't see who you are, but hello, hello.
Hello.
I'm one of them.
That's fine. It still counts. I'm just saying hi to you more than once. It's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of Tipsy and Witchy. As you can tell, we have a full house tonight, and it's going to be a good show. Hopefully, the other half of Tipsy and Witchy joins us eventually. I'm not really sure where she is, but it's hard to keep track of her. But we have Dawn Hogger back with us to talk about her haunted farmhouse. And we also have our good friend Tina Marie. And we thought maybe she could give us some insight on some stuff. And back with us as well is Robert, our Spirit Walkers videographer. He does all the camera work for our team on our investigations, and he does marvelous work. And y'all already know Conrad, so I'm not worried about him.
Your old hat, Conrad.
That's just you know, you see him here all the time. No big deal. It's cool. So, yeah. So, how's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good.
So far, so good.
Excellent.
Doing well.
Did we figure out what Henry was doing in your house? Was he like, what was he doing?
Just now?
Mm-hmm.
I let Cooper out and he goes upset. He gets really upset when the dog is outside. So he runs from window to window yelling like, hey, where'd you go?
That's my friend.
Bring him
back. Hilarious. Oh my goodness. So I forgive me, but does anybody remember where we left off last time talking about your house?
Not really.
I don't, because I missed the first part.
That's all right. So we'll probably just do a little recap on some stuff. So we went to Dawn's house on March 29th and did an investigation. It was a phenomenal investigation. We had some pretty cool stuff. Yeah, so we're just going to talk about that. And Dawn has learned some more history, or relearned some more history, I should say, on her house. So how about we start with that, Dawn? What did you learn about your house?
Well, I used to have a document that I had printed out years ago that listed the original owners of the house, the Helpin family, and then all their children. And it's missing. I cannot lay hands on it. So I decided to sit down and get into researching the family again, and I pretty much got them all. On the original document that I had, it listed the owners who actually built the house. It was Michael and Elizabeth Helpin, and the house was on the record 1880, and that they had, from what I remember, 12 or 13 kids. While in my research, they had more. They had 15 children here.
What?
I know, right? It's a lot.
Were they all theirs?
Yes.
Holy cow.
Yes. And I suspect a few of them. Oops, I don't know what happened here. Let me just go on here. Okay, I'm back. It was my paper hit a thing. I'm on my husband's laptop and I despise it. Ugh.
Oh no.
I do. But what I found out is I have them all listed, and what we suspected is true. You know, we felt like there was a child that she had miscarried, and I suspect I found it. But yeah, pretty much she was very consistent in birthing. It was almost every year she had a baby.
Damn.
She had a set of twins, which I knew about. And then a daughter further on became a nun. Most of them lived up into their 60s and 70s. There was a couple that died early. There's one child, 12. He was 29 or 30 when he passed. A lot of them are buried in the Gaines Cemetery, which I knew about. And there's an actual website that you can go on and look at the actual tombstones. So that helped me, because some of them had listed, because I went on several sites, listed the wrong initial for the middle name and and then their names were in not in the right order. So I was able to clarify that and get it correct because, tombstones aren't wrong when you look at it. But yeah, it was really, really interesting. It turns out the husband, Michael Halpin, was born in Ireland, which I knew. I thought they both were, but it was just him. She was born in New York City. And then I'm not sure where they met. Michael Halpin actually grew up. His family moved from Ireland and came into our area, and they actually had a house on Duffield Road, is where his families were, and then they built this one here down and around the corner. So that was really interesting to find out that he was technically local. I'm not sure how he met a woman from New York City, but or from the state of New York, I should say. But they were married in 1871 in Corona, and then they built their homestead here and continued making lots and lots of children. So, but yeah, it was really interesting to see that and to go through all these names. It's incredible. 15 children. I still can't get over it.
That's so many kids.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That makes me hurt a little bit. Like,
yeah,
I want to cross my legs.
Yeah, because they were married in 1871, and then their first child was a daughter, and she was born in March of 1872. So,
March baby.
And 14 months later, actually, she was born, and then it just started almost a year after. Michael had passed away. He was age 65 and he died in 1912. And then Elizabeth followed at the age of 61 in 1915. So she died 3 years after her husband.
Aw.
Yeah. But and it was it's really neat seeing there's a lot of names that I remembered that is familiar to me because we have the original hay barn on the property. And when they poured cement in the 20s, kids wrote names in the cement. So a lot of these I recognize. And then we have old books that were gifted from the siblings to one another. And they wrote inside, the year, Merry Christmas, and from who to whom, So that was pretty neat. So it was really neat seeing all of this.
I just love that you have original items that were in the house and belong to the actual family.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact those make fantastic trigger objects.
Yeah. Yeah. There was I have a few, like I showed you guys in the entryway in that little basket. I have a little pile of books and then the rest of them are upstairs. Yeah. We found them in a crate and it was in the one barn that we picked up and moved out of the way when we were renovating. And it was in the ceiling of this one little barn. Were these old antique books, and then it had big time magazines from the 40s, 50s. So there's a little stuff that was stashed up there. So, but yeah, it was really, really neat seeing this. And I'm I have it all handwritten and I'm going to type it out and put it in a safe place so I don't lose it again.
Fair enough.
It was a lot of work to get all that.
Sounds it. Do you have any pictures of Michael or Elizabeth or the children?
I do not. I wish I did. I looked on because there's some where they would show photo. I ended up on this one site that seemed very, very, very had a lot of information, but there's no photos. So sadly, I do not. I just have items, their books. There was a couple things through the years that we have found, and that's about it.
Interesting. I wonder if there's a way you can find, do they keep any kind of photo records somewhere of people? I don't know.
I was thinking because sometimes it's in the Swartz Creek Historical Society that they have listed where they'll put they used to do their paper where it said so-and-so went to Duran to visit their sister and all this and that. And the Halpins were listed a few times where, that they traveled. Mrs. Halpin got together with other ladies and they all went over to visit somebody who was ailing, and it's really neat. And they just might have pictures of families in there because it would be in the newspapers.
Right.
I haven't taken the time to go over there to actually kind of look into it, but I've kind of got the bug. And if things settle down a little bit, I just might take the time to run in there. I think it's in the library and it's open a certain day. So it'd be kind of cool to go and check it out. I'd like to see what they look like.
That would be super cool.
Being Irish, kind of, what they're going to kind of tend to, but it'd be really interesting to see what they'll look like. It's an Irish Catholic family who had, built here. Ah, there you are.
She finally joined us. Where you been?
I had a ride home.
Oh yeah.
I can't hear what you're saying again, Chelsea. Not a
She's
word.
here.
I don't know.
Conrad.
I don't know.
Can
if
you hear me? Can you hear
Yeah, I
me?
can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Someone tell her to leave the studio and come back.
Leave and come back, she said.
Leave and come back. Okay. Leave.
Mhm. And then when she comes back, she'll probably say, "And come back." Not quite sure what is. I don't know. I got nothing. I can't try to understand. So, no pictures, but maybe we can find some. That would be so cool.
Mhm.
Really cool is if you just happen to come across pictures somewhere in the house. Like, what about that thing that's hidden underneath your stairs? What if there was like photo albums or something in it?
That'd be really cool. We still need to access it. We're just going to, that's on my list of things to do right now. We're kind of got our hands full with stuff.
Yeah.
Beginning of spring, but that is on my list of what I want to do. To tear those stairs, fix them. There's a couple hinky stairs that need to be repaired. So it's on our to-do list.
So just in case anybody missed the first show, explain what you guys have spotted underneath the stairs.
When we were doing a renovation on a bathroom that is on the back end of the house, and the stairs would go up, and then it'd be like right behind that. It's my husband, for some reason, decided when we had gutted that out, it was just down to the studs, and he tore out a bump out for where the stairs are. There was like this triangular thing on the wall, and it wasn't necessary. And he's like, we were always confused about what that was there for, and it didn't serve any purpose, and because of headspace. But he tore it out, and then he's like, I wonder what's on the other side of the wall, because underneath the stairs is a closet, and it's all plastered from the original family. When they built the house, it's all plastered, including a wall at the very base. And with what he was able to see, below the actual stairs above where the plaster and all is. And he saw something down there, and then he was shining lights, and he's looking. And then my brother-in-law had a nifty camera that is the snake camera type thing. And so we fed that down there, and it turned out it's a little barrel, and it's hidden under the stairwell. And we don't know what's in it. We can't access it unless we either tear out the wall, which we don't want to do, or we do work on the stairs, which is what our plan is. And it looks like from back in the day when they built the house, it's a nail cask is what they're called. So it looks like a little mini gun barrel or gunpowder barrel. And that's kind of what it looks like. So when we're able to get into it, we don't know what's in it. We don't know if it was like they had a step that you could remove and then access it to put treasures in. Someone was kicking around that there's bones in it. We're like all these different theories, or it could just be full of iron, which someone had said it's for Irish people that they would have iron nearby in order to ward off the fairies and the leprechauns and pixies and whatnot. So it could be just something that's there for like superstition. So we'll never know until we get in it and find out. But that's about the last, because someone had mentioned, like it's something's in the floor. The way this house was built, when you go underneath it and look up, you see there's no, like the main floor, there's no cavity in between the floors. So there wouldn't be anything buried under the floor, because when you look up, you're seeing the underside of the board. So there's really nothing that could be hidden that way. And so I'm thinking someone was picking up the barrel that's right there, because that's kind of hidden in there. So and about in the location that we were told. So it kind of stands to reason that that's what it is.
It would make sense to me.
I think so. It just, yeah, it'll be when, because we have to tear down this, take out the carpet. And then there's, like I said, there's some boards and we're going to be fixing that staircase. I mean, the ones that were over, it's like you probably felt those hinky steps up there. It kind of sagged a little. I think the boards are kind of cracked and, thank God for the carpet. But yeah, my husband during that renovation, he just, for whatever compelled him to look down there for whatever reason, because I think it bugged him that they walled it off.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just leave the stairs open where you can go into closets and see the bottom of the stairs, but it's all finished. And it's always kind of piqued his curiosity. So I'm really glad he looked because he discovered something, and we don't know. It was put there by the original people. So
That is so crazy. Now, if it does happen to say "do not open cursed," just maybe leave it.
yeah, we'll just leave it there. We'll leave it there. It's kind of in the middle of the heart of the house, sort of. So it'll be left. We'll treat it like the Jumanji game. We don't want to
Right, exactly. We don't need any. We've had plenty of that the last 4 years. I don't think we need any more. So, Tina Marie, what are you thinking so far from everything?
Well, I'm glad she said about the little chest, or would you say it was a barrel?
It's a little mini barrel, like what the nails came in
the floor is all I got instantly. Was in the floor, but all your closets. Can you see up underneath all the closets as well? There's no there wouldn't be anything underneath one of the closet floors.
No, because like everything, when you go into the basement and look up, you can see the underside of everything.
Okay.
There's no, because some homes that they'll have that gap between the floors. This one does not.
That definitely does not. Okay.
Yeah.
And perhaps when you guys do tear out floors at some point, maybe between the house and the floor, like in the basement area, something wrapped in material. It's wrapped. And it's going to be really, like, the material is going to be really yellow and fall apart, but there's something wrapped up.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Are you thinking
you guys find it
in the basement? Because when we did find a gun that was in the ceiling of where the kitchen was, and it was in really old gun bag, a gun case that was old leather and peeling and flaking. It was really disgusting. Okay. But we still don't really know whose it was. We don't know. We're thinking it had to been. We're the third owners of this house, and the middle people from 1967 to 1997 owned the house, and they renovated. Okay. And so the drop ceilings were installed and whatnot, and it was in a drop ceiling into a closet that wasn't there, I think, with the original people. Okay. But my husband found his prize, and it was this pristine rifle that was in there, and super excited about it. Okay. But the only thing, like when you're saying in the basement, where the floors come underneath, we do have the really old stone walls in dividing a couple of the rooms, because the basement's sectioned. Mm-hmm. In the old original part, like where I'm sitting, is because the house is L-shaped, and it'd be the short part. That was a Michigan basement, and then further on, it was a crawl space, which we've jacked up and turned into a new basement. So all that's new. It wouldn't be there. But where the stone walls are, they're really thick, and they're really, and it could be a possibility that something might be up in there. We've been up in there looking, but it's just really kind of weird and thick. And then maybe, something could be in there. Okay. That might be what you're picking up, but it's within the same area of where that barrel is sitting, because it's like the stone wall is right there. So maybe that's what you're picking up.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Lost Robert again. He'll come back.
I'm kind of hoping that I do hope you find a picture of Elizabeth, at least her. I keep seeing very long, kind of, I wouldn't say brown hair, but very, very like very dirty blonde. It would be brown in the winter, but kind of golden in the summer.
Oh, okay.
Very long, very long. During that time, a lot of the women would have their hair up. She loved her hair down.
Okay.
She loved to have her hair down. But
When
yeah, I
we,
just keep seeing
we
it.
would
as
sit
brown.
outside and we would see her walk, who I assume it was her, and from a distance, her hair was up, and
Okay.
she would have it in a bun and be walking with a stack of towels when you're in the outside looking up to the landing window.
Okay.
And that's about the most that I've seen her. And then when I saw her down here, her hair was always in a low like bun at the
Okay.
bottom.
It
You
could
know,
very well have been maybe one of the older girls
yeah,
then.
the
Only
children.
because it's female. I just jumped in to feel it was Elizabeth, but
It could be.
I don't always. Sometimes it's just little pictures I get.
It's
So
really, really cool because let's see, 1, 2. She had 10 daughters
I was
and
gonna say
5 boys.
with them being older, there's a better chance of there being a picture of them somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. Because
So
the middle people, their last name was Johnson's. They bought the house and it was signed off by Leo, and he was like out of all the siblings, he was the one that survived everybody, and he passed in 1969, and that's who they bought the house from in 67. So after the house was sold, he passed 2 years later.
wow.
So that's who it was that had that. But yeah, there was like 5 boys. I just can't imagine all the little girls. But when we've seen, but I think it's like when I had looked through here, because there's a few of them when they listed them, all of them have their birth date and death date. A lot of them have actual dates of their birth date where they went through the records and had it.
Okay.
But there's this one that was Patrick. And what was interesting about him, it was that either they put ABT, 1884. And at first I was thinking it was about 1884 that he was born. But then I don't know if it meant back in the day, if miscarriages were put abort, if that's what it was. And there is no record of him. No, nothing. It was just about he was born around there, and he was named after his uncle.
Okay.
It was one of his father's brothers. But it was just kind of to me, and then because you guys had picked up children here, and I wonder if he might be one of the ones running around. I think at one point during the investigation, they said that there was 3, and then there was another one named Hester. And she was baby number 12, and she was born in March of 1886. And then there's no more further on with her. Because some of them, they have it where, I know where they were married, like the eldest got married and she had like 4 or 5 kids, and, and then there's a lot where they were, buried in Durand, and one became a nun and she's up north, and some died in Detroit. So they were spread out. But on these ones, it just makes me wonder if they were like the babies who passed, and they were from there. So it's just, with all those kids. But yeah, it was very interesting.
What do you know if there are any current family members that are around the area still?
We were, and I don't know her name, but years ago, we were right in the transition of remodeling. And at the time, this back half of the house was closed off. We were living in the front room. You've probably heard me complain about that, Chelsea, when that story of like, it was like the dark times, because we were just, our living room became our dining room, our entryway, everything was just in this room. It was just half the house was gone. And we had the tax assessor come out, and she said that she was related to the original family. And I'm like, and she was really curious what we were doing, but she wasn't allowed to come in because she was doing our tax assessment. They're not allowed to come into the home. And most people don't welcome the tax assessors to come into your home, anyways. But I'm like, it didn't matter because she had been in the house before. And then also, she had the blueprint of what we were doing. So there was no hidden bathroom, she knew what was going on. But I had told her she's more than welcome to come back, and she never did. And I do not remember her name, and I know she's not there anymore, but she said that she was related to the original family.
Yeah, that would be so cool though.
Mm-hmm. And that was back when, gosh, it was before you guys graduated. The oldest is like, I'm trying to think of when it was. It was a couple years before my oldest graduated, and he graduated in what, 08. So I think it was in 06. So that's a long time for me to remember. So
18 years. It's not a big deal.
yeah, it was a long time. This whole thing had been a huge transition, and to get the house the way it is now. But
Mhm.
yeah,
Mom, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh,
there
good.
you
Good grief.
And Robert's back too.
Yep, Robert is back. So we've just been going.
Uh oh.
You're breaking up a bit, Robert.
I keep getting cut off for some reason.
That's because I got on, I'm sure. Every time I try to get on this, something happens.
It says there could be up to 10 people on there. I think it might be my internet. I'm not sure.
Oh, could be.
That's very possible. Mm-hmm. So we've just been talking about the new stuff that Dawn has learned about the house, or relearned, I should say.
Oh, awesome.
About the family and everything. So it's been pretty good stuff. Yeah.
Oh, good, because we can use all that information the next time we come in.
Absolutely. And I have all my notes are handwritten right now, and I plan on making it into a nice typed thing. And I'm going to put it in a place, probably put it in a frame and put it on my wall so I don't lose it.
Probably a portfolio for everything you're learning about the place.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, you could write a book.
Yeah. It would be really neat.
I think it'd be cool.
I just love the idea of you finding the family members that are alive now to see if they might have any insight on their past relatives. I just think that'd be so cool.
It would be neat. And just
Or
to
even have a picture.
get a picture.
Pictures, yeah.
I would love to have like a picture of them and just put it up in the house, somewhere, just an homage to them.
Yeah.
It's an incredible house.
Would the library or historical society have any?
I'm sure they might, because there was always mentions of them. They were a very prominent type family. And the acreage that they owned on the far west side of it, there was a little schoolhouse, because back in the day, they didn't have one central school. And so they had like on the corners, little schoolhouses. There was one, I believe on not Seymour. Maybe it was, Seymour and Grand Blanc Road. And then at Duffield and Grand Blanc Road was the Helping School. And I'm not sure if Elizabeth was the school teacher or if they just built it and donated their part of their yard or their land for that. I'm not sure if she was the teacher or what, but, and then eventually everything was consolidated, and then Gaines Elementary became the high school until it was rebuilt in Creek. But so I do know that, and we were told by a few people that there was a school, and we were told our little outbuilding was the schoolhouse. And I'm like, it was a 1-car garage. You could tell it was built a lot later, and it was never a school building at all. You can tell from the inside how it was. But we were told that there was a school on here, and then it came up in the Historical Society. And of course, I researched it and found out it was west of us, and it's at Duffield and Grand Blanc Road. So,
Well, their
Is it a
kids were
one-month
half
school?
of the students. So.
I know, right?
Their kids probably took up like a whole classroom.
I know. I didn't know if you heard this, Donna. I found more research. They had 15 children.
15 children?
15, yeah. So it was,
Wow.
that's a lot of kids. But I suspect a couple of them might have been stillborn.
Yeah.
So-
Back then, that happened a lot.
Yeah. And as long as they're not in the barrel, we're okay.
They're not in the barrel. They're under the lilac tree.
We don't. Is that what you think is in there? And it very well could be. And but yeah, it was really neat to find all that. So I have a lot of documents. But
Oh, that's awesome. I can't wait for you to put a scope down that barrel to see what's in it.
Yeah, we're going, we rip it out, we're going to be tearing out those steps, and we'll be able to just reach in and open it ourselves. If it looks like it's sealed from the picture that he had. It says
There may be things from the house in it, like a
I
time.
was thinking like that was their little safe, and that they had a stair step that they could lift up and then access it and then put their treasures on it, and I'm thinking
like an
maybe
old
that's
time
what it is.
capsule.
Or, maybe it's just a prank of the Irish where it's like hide a barrel and then trick on these people, make them think something cool's in it. You never know.
Wasn't there
I'm
some
used
kind
to
of folklore about barrels?
Yeah, you guys were talking about how they would hide iron or put iron to ward off the leprechauns and all the little fairies and sprites and whatnot that's out there in their folklore. So
Maybe
it could
there's
very
a
well be
fairy
that.
locked up in it.
I just know that, it's whether or not we remove it. I just want to peek inside it. We might just leave it where it is.
Don't remove it.
If we move it out of the staircase, we would keep it in the house. But I just think I'd feel better just keeping it where it is.
I think you're right.
I just get a feeling it should be there. I just want to be nosy and peek and see what it is.
Yeah, there's a reason why it's there.
Yeah.
And I don't want to find out if it's a bad reason or a good reason.
No.
That's why I said if it's marked "Do not open curse," just leave it. Just don't touch it.
Yeah. Start hearing the drums of Jumanji in there.
Like no, put it back. Don't touch it. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I'm gonna leave it there. Okay.
So did you get into the investigation?
No, we haven't touched that yet.
No.
Well,
No.
ready, set, go.
Ready, set, go. Well, because I can't remember if we touched on it or not yet in the last one, but I can't remember.
No, we hadn't
No,
done
you
it.
hadn't done the investigation when we talked about the house before. So but one of the things that, before you guys get into it, you guys upstairs, Conrad and Olivia and then Chelsea were upstairs, and then something was in the closet, kept going in and out of that master closet. My husband reminded me, Eric reminded me, that's where the original up and downstairs, the second staircase was. And because I'm like, it didn't make sense to me, because to me, that's all new what we did. We made this master bedroom, we bumped out the house a little bit, and where that original staircase had been removed by the time we moved in, because the middle people renovated the house and ripped it out and had a kitchen. That's where the kitchen was moved to. But I'm like, yeah, I just didn't make sense. Why were they going in and out of there? Well, they were probably running up and down what their stairs used to be.
Yep.
So that kind of makes sense to me. That was the
It
staircase.
sure reminds me of servants' quarters.
Yeah, you had said that, but I don't know if they needed servants with 15 children.
Yeah, I was going to say they birthed all of their servants.
They were all built.
Well, it was farmers, and farmers had big families back then.
Mhm.
Yeah, they got to take care of the farm.
Yeah,
That's exactly it.
it was a lot. Yeah, it was something. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. And then, I'm kind of curious because you guys were upstairs and I was downstairs. So I was kind of curious what you guys witnessed up there.
I mean, we did a spirit box session for a while, and I think we had a few voices come through. Conrad, do you remember what we were asking?
Oh gosh.
I know, right?
No.
We were just asking, like, we were trying to figure out who, because we were picking up on a spirit of a male that didn't seem to be
Mentally
Fully
ill.
equipped.
right,
Yeah,
completely
creepy.
coherent. And
Yeah.
he came off very slimy to me, like there was just something very wrong. So we were kind of picking up on him for a while upstairs, and then all of a sudden he just vanished. Just poof, gone. Because we were wondering if maybe that was what you were picking up on and feeling uncomfortable about in your area there upstairs.
Yeah, he's been back. He messes with the lights now.
Oh, jeez.
I'll wake up and there's the bathroom, the fan has that light
Yeah.
You have to use the remote to turn it on. And I have the remote because I thought the cat was doing it. And I have the remote in a place the cat can't access. But I'll wake up and the light's on.
Okay.
That's bizarre.
Well,
And then
Robert had
for a
heard.
while, light will be on.
You had heard something upstairs too, didn't you, Robert?
Well, I had a camera in the other room, and I caught a voice when Chelsea and Don were at the other end of the hallway. Someone being pregnant. Whisper. I had a camera inside the room, but I didn't get anything in there. Plus one after the stairs were. Didn't really get much over there.
But you did get a lot of good footage in other places.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get nothing film or photo. It's just all like EVPs, audio stuff. That's one downfall is when I set these cameras up, and I'm not at each camera, so it's hard for me to tell if it was somebody else or not. But that's why I'm glad I got you guys to double check.
Yeah.
And we love doing
That way
that.
we can read out all that stuff and get to the good stuff.
Oh, heck yeah.
Absolutely.
And-
And there was good audio footage.
Yeah, there
Oh, definitely.
some chilling audio footage even.
Yeah.
Oh no. Poor Robert, I think he's having
What was
internet
your
issues.
favorite ones, Conrad?
What was that?
So what was your favorite footages?
It was the best EVP I think that we caught was the one. What did he say? It was the male EVP, and he was like, "What did he say? What did he say?" I'd have to go back to the chat and listen or read it. Do you remember what he said?
I don't remember nothing if it's at past 30 minutes right now. So
I feel like didn't we catch one that said get out or leave or something like that?
It was like get out or leave or something like that, and he was just like, or get out of here or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was just it was very audible, very clear,
Mm-hmm.
and deep and creepy.
And creepy. Good way to put
The
it.
slimy guy, I feel
Yeah.
like.
creepy by the slimy guy.
By
Yeah.
the slimy guy. Yeah.
At one point, Chelsea had to even grab me away from the stairs because she felt like he was going to just shove me down them.
Yeah, I wasn't having that. I'm like, not today, bud. No.
He wasn't very happy at first when we got there, I don't think, because we were all new, all asking too many questions.
Well, and he knew that we were trying to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing too that we couldn't really figure out who he was, and he could very well be what we were thinking. The Johnsons' granddaughter last summer came, and she wanted to. I took her through the house, and when we were standing in the upstairs hallways, when she told me, "Oh, that was my uncle and so's room," and we were always told as kids to leave him alone because he didn't like to be bothered. And then afterwards is about when everything started I felt this sense where someone was angry that was in the hallway. I'd opened my door to go into the hallway, and it was like hitting a wall of resentment that you're do not come in. And that's when I was having that problem.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that it could be very well that uncle could be Mr. Slimy Creepy Guy. I call him Mr. Creepy. And because we'd lived here for how long? Since 98. And, since when we moved in, my two oldest kids, one was 4 and the other one was 7. Right away, we always knew that there was something more here. And the younger at the time, he had just developed an imaginary friend, and, and all this stuff was happening. And then eventually, we started seeing we always called her the lady walk past the window. So it just was a gradual acceptance that there was something more here than us. But I never, ever felt uncomfortable or felt not allowed to go in areas of my home. and until it was last year. And that's what we were kind of thinking it might have been. It might be that uncle that they were told to avoid.
Now,
And-
none of that happened, Dawn, until his relatives showed up.
Yeah, because we were trying to figure out the timing of it, and it was before we even. It was around. We were thinking March, April. It was in spring when they showed up, and we walked him through. It was before, because our son got married here. For our ones that don't know, and it was before we started really getting to work on getting things ready for the wedding, because we had it at the house. So right before there, and. So yeah, it was around that. And then I just started feeling this anger when I'd open that door to cross over, because I made the middle room my craft room. And when I try and cross over, I just like, oh, it's not supposed to be here. But then I'm like, hey, I live here.
Right. Right.
So that's why I'm thinking Mr. Creepy might be that creepy uncle. And then something triggered it where he's become a more prominent in this. And then the lady, of course, she made the mention, because when we had talked previously in that other podcast, it was the mystery of that shoe, and she said that she was responsible for it. So that was to get that validation.
That was awesome.
Yeah. And so that was really neat, because that was on our mind, was she responsible for that? I think I brought it in the house, but then still, it's just so weird how I still am trying to figure out. I don't think I ever can. But
recap what happened there for the people that didn't hear the last podcast.
Right before Christmas, my husband and I had went shopping at a little vintage store, and I bought a Santa picture to put in with my decorations, and it came in a sack. And I keep remembering it was a white bag, and he's saying it was a brown bag. So we don't know, but it was a bag. And then Christmas holidays come through, everything's fine. And I had set upstairs a table to do all our gift wrapping with. And in mid-January is when I finally decided, well, I better clean this mess up. And I went in there, and in the middle of this table sitting there was a brown gift bag sitting there. And I like, oh, that's weird. And so when I went to flatten it, it had paper in it. And I went to flatten it because I'm like, oh, it's decent. I'll use it for a gift bag later. Don't throw that stuff away, And there was something in there. So I'm like, oh, the paper must be bald. So when I pulled out the paper, this little Victorian leather boot baby shoe fell out.
Baby shoe.
Of this bag. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that was, I had big emotions when I saw that. I'm like, and I just cannot explain where that came from. If it came from the shop, why was it in that bag? Why didn't I notice it? The bag, the one from the shop ended up in the basement, how did it end up upstairs sitting like a present in the middle of this table?
Right.
Because the kids that got married here, they're expecting we're having our first grandbaby. And so there's been a lot of little baby talk. And then we got it validated. Was she responsible for giving us the baby shoe? And she had said, yes, it came through. Yes.
Yes.
So that was really
I think that was the best part of the whole night.
It was really cool.
Tina, what kind of things are you picking up on with that? Just curious.
Not a whole lot right now.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sometimes I can do it without being there, and other times, and I'm just not on tonight. Sorry.
That is okay.
Well, we got to get you up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's been at least a year since I've done an investigation. So yeah,
Oh, no.
and I've got the itch. So
That's
Okay.
way too long. Way too long.
tell me
Unacceptable.
about it. Having withdrawal.
Heck yeah.
I'm thinking like one of the favorite things too that we had picked up is when we were finishing up and we went into the living room, and we were all sitting there, and had my husband was gone, and then he had come through, and turned out what did you call him, a neutralizer?
Yes.
Everything stopped.
He's a neutralizer.
Everything stopped. And so
Yep.
he felt bad, and he's like, well, I'll just go out. And out in the hay barn, when we got ready for the wedding, there's a little bar that we have set up, and then he has a TV out there and stuff. So we call it the party barn now. but he's like, well, I'll just go out there and watch the news and da 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 and everything. And then, someone had said, "Where's Eric?" or something like that. And then the boy, it came over where it was like Bar West, and that's where the barn sits on the west side of the house on the property, and it has a little bar in there. And yeah, he was sipping on some stuff. So, but and then the other thing too that was really cool is like, and then he came back, and next thing we know, we're still all in there. We're getting some really good stuff going, and then we're like, well. He was outside with a flashlight, and we're like, what is he doing out there? What is he doing? And then there's a voice in the kitchen that got picked up, and it said looking. And we weren't sure if it said cooking or looking, but it turned out he was out there. Our cat slipped out, and he was out there looking for
the cat.
That's what he was doing. So they were involved. They're keeping track of where he is, where Eric is. That was kind of funny. But
I was explaining that earlier, but I got cut off.
I didn't
You're not having much luck with your internet, are you, Robert?
No, I'm standing right over my router. I don't know what that meant. It shows I feel like I know
I think the ghost in her.
that I get cut off.
Yeah, I think they're playing at your house tonight, Robert. Robert's house is haunted.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't like me talking about this stuff.
Apparently.
They get mad.
Damn. You know what? I bet your ghosties at your house are like, you cheated on us. How dare you?
I know. That's what I was thinking. It's like, ooh.
And I don't think Robert.
Yeah, I show people all the time that come over. I show them stuff.
What'd you say, Mom?
I said, I don't think Robert lives too far from Evan.
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, no, he doesn't. Just across town. Yep.
Yeah, it's only like 4 miles to Don's house.
Okay, so you are close. Oh, there he goes again.
Yeah.
Hi.
I swear his ghosts in his house are like, not today, sir. This is your house. You don't need to be cheating on us with other houses. No.
So, Dawn, where is your house? I don't need an address, just.
Well, we're outside. We're kind of like, if you made a visual triangle, you have Gaines to the south of us, south of us, and you have Swartz Creek to the east, and then Durand to the west, and we're kind of like right in the middle, but it's a Gaines, Michigan.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And her house, see how far away that is from me.
Her house is astronomically gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
It's beautiful.
Like,
well,
go ahead.
how far is Houghton Lake from you, Tina?
A while.
Well, cut off 3 hours.
Minus 2 hours from that.
Okay, Gaines, Michigan is 2 hours and 51 minutes.
There you go.
Well, that's not bad.
I'm in Indiana, but I'm less than 5 miles to the Michigan border.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm not too far away. So,
Well, that's not too bad. My husband, he works pipe fitting, and he works in hospitals, and he's in Indianapolis right now. So,
okay.
yeah. So I'm familiar because I used to drive down there. My youngest, he lived in Indianapolis for about 3-4 years.
Okay.
So we would do road trips when I was missing him. Let's go see him.
But
Hi,
I drive
Candace.
by Don's house. I drive by Don's house when I do physical therapy. I always take the feet when I'm driving by, see if I see something.
You should see him. Yeah, I'm usually always out here.
Depending on which way I have to come with traffic, if I go by, I'm always honking.
Yeah, it's like, and then we look and we're like,
already gone, yeah.
So I'm like, hi, don't know, I didn't see who it was. Hi.
You always know it's me because I'll honk, and then as soon as I stop, I'm like, hey, I honked at you. That was me.
Yeah, because we're on a main road, so there's a lot of traffic, and there's a lot of people that know this house, and And I always make the joke because I've been approached by people I've never met. They're like, "Oh, you know one that owns that house?" And I'm like, "Yeah, how do I know you?" You know. And then I love my flowers and stuff, and usually it's me bent over, and I'm like, "What?" You know, what are you recognizing? I'm sure it's not this because I usually I'm bent over.
The front or the back?
Or the back, yeah.
It's fine.
And she really does have beautiful flowers.
Yes, you've
Beautiful
Everything-
goldfish.
that as well.
Everything about your property is gorgeous. That's why I always,
For real.
when I talk about your house to people, I'm like, yeah, it's one of those houses you'd see in Better Homes and Gardens. Like, I'm not kidding.
See, I live here, so I'm kind of like have a blind eye to that aspect. I look around and it's like, ooh, that needs to be done. Ooh, that has to be done. But I'm going to be beefing up my flower beds this year. This year, you know, I don't have any big plans for anything here on the property, so I can, like last year, the wedding colors were pink, and I was doing all the flowers. So everything I was planting in planters were all variations of pink. And so now I get to choose what I usually like. My favorites out here is purple because it just looks so nice against the color of the house.
Yes,
So
it does.
I'm going to go back to my purple waist this year. So
You should
I'm not
see
gonna be
Chelsea's
disappointed.
purple flowers. They're gorgeous. I mean, my purple flowers.
Yeah, they're your purple flowers, and they miss you.
We better be watering them.
They've already tried to commit suicide at my house, so there's that. I'm working, right? And I work right next to the windows now, and I look out, and all of a sudden I see this giant basket just shattered on my front porch. I'm like, what the hell?
Kind of windy there.
Good old wind.
Well,
Yeah.
Donna,
That's why
can you
I-
believe
that's why I
it's
like
really going to be- Sorry. Oh, well, there goes Robert. What, 17 more days till we see each other.
I know, right? I'm so pumped
Yeah.
up.
We're all going to be at Parapsychon and May
Yes!
17th.
At
Yep.
Mansfield Reformatory
Yes.
in Mansfield, Ohio.
Well, for those that are more familiar, it's Ohio State Reformatory.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Either
Shawshank
way.
Redemption movie.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have the same energy I did when I first went there. Conrad remembers well. He was like, "You need to calm down." I'm like, "I can't."
I couldn't stand next to her. I couldn't take it. Like, I
No.
was-
She was
Like-
buying people she didn't know souvenirs.
I was like, "Hey, you want one of those? I'll totally buy one. I don't care. Here you go."
She was just like crazy.
We have a lot of fun. It's a lot of great people. It's one of the bigger shows that are out there, like the one that we go up and to the Michigan Paracon. You guys, we all go up there, Sault Ste.
Yep.
Marie. But this one's pretty big too. This one, they a lot of good people that they bring in, and it's one of the better places for a vendor. They take care of their vendors, so they're good people, and
They are good people.
yeah, Greg Ficetic is somebody you guys should have on too. He's written several books.
Mhm. We actually had him on the podcast before.
Did you?
It's been a
Okay,
couple
good.
years now, but
We should
yeah,
have
Yeah.
him on again.
we
Yeah,
should.
you guys should. He's a good one to have on. But every time I go, I always take like salt scrubs with me at the end of the day. Get back to the hotel and it's like, oh God, just get it off.
Yeah. I plan on doing the same
It's almost
thing.
you almost
because-
feel slimy when you leave.
Yes. And I think it's
Yeah.
from all that crap that's in the air.
My husband says he has no gift. Yeah, no gift and no ability. And he did a tour and went down to Solitary. He came back up and he was, white as a ghost. I'm like, are you okay? I'm thinking he's having a stroke or something or a heart attack going up and down all the steps. He's going, you need to go to Solitary. He goes, with what you can do, he goes, you need to go. I'm like, well, why are you worked up? He goes, I can hear screams. I'm like, what? He goes, you need to go. So yeah, he actually sat in one of the solitary cells. And for somebody who says he has no gift or ability whatsoever, he says, it felt like I could hear them screaming. And he goes, and it just, the feeling, the overwhelmed feeling of sadness and just, that's it. This is it. I'm done. He goes,
Wow.
it just came over me. It's like, okay. All
See,
right.
I went down to solitary and literally started getting nauseous.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
It's
Yeah.
a heavy energy in that one for sure.
Yeah.
So
And then
my-
you know how they talked about the guard that is usually walking one of the aisles? He was behind me. You could hear the footsteps.
Yeah, we could smell it too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I had not this past year, but the year prior, I kept seeing a bigger woman with her hair up, and she had on one of the uniforms for, like, being a guard. And when I spoke to the docent that was there that day, she said, she goes, well, that sounds like, one of the women's guards. And she brought a picture around. She goes, can you show me which one? And I pointed right to her, and she goes, okay, yeah. So it was somebody that had worked there, and she was there, and she just kept coming up. It was all the vendors were there. It was Saturday, and she kept going, all these people shouldn't be in here. All these people shouldn't be in here. They shouldn't be in here. She's walking back. She's all worked up.
Oh
So,
boy,
yeah.
it's going to be so good.
Yeah. But she was the head of the women's part. I guess there was a part where there was some women as
Where
well
they
that
were
were up
housed.
there.
Yeah.
So,
Excellent. Yep. Can't wait. So everyone that's down there, come on out and see all of us.
Come
Maybe
see
in
us.
my neck of the woods.
I'm so excited.
yes. So if you guys are down there, stop by, see me. I'm in my same old spot, Heirloom Haberdashery. And guys, this is the last year for Heirloom Haberdashery at Ohio State Reformatory. So last chance to get your hats and apparel. So
Well, you know what? We are proud that we will be there to see you.
yes,
and you off.
I'll get to see myself. Not saying I won't be back, but that part won't be back. So
Excellent.
yes, it'd be good to see everybody.
All I can say is, like, when we were doing the investigation, I was just so riled up because I couldn't decide if I was more excited to be there for the haunting or if I was more excited because it was where Shawshank Redemption was filmed.
That's what it was.
That's one of my all-time favorite movies. Yeah. So, like, every time we went somewhere, I'm like, oh, this is where this scene was filmed. Oh, this is where this happened. Oh, that's where Andy Dufresne.
It was.
I still haven't seen it. I still haven't seen it. I gotta watch it.
It's so bad.
Oh, it's such a great movie. You need to watch it.
It is.
It really is. I mean, you could watch it every day, and to this day, I'll watch it, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't notice this. I didn't.
So,
yeah.
I like to read random facts about movies that I love because I'm a freak. And you know how when Andy Dufresne is first being bussed in, the bus pulls in and all the prisoners are like clapping and hooting and hollering. And there was the younger black prisoner that was, oh God, what did he say? Reeling him in.
Yeah.
That was Morgan Freeman's son.
Oh,
Really?
Wow.
Yep.
That's
Wow.
cool.
Now when you watch it, if you look at him, you're like, oh yeah, he does look like Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
We'll not change the
Well, not-
subject, but random facts. Who watched Little House on the Prairie?
I watch it.
Do you know that Mrs. Beadle was actually Michael Landon's daughter?
No.
No.
Yeah.
I don't remember who these people are.
Pa Ingalls.
Oh.
Well, I know on that series Yellowstone, the girl with the pink hair, Teeter,
That's his daughter, too.
that's his daughter.
That's from his second or third marriage.
Wow,
Well,
that's awesome.
And then there were littler kids on
Hmm.
Little House on the Prairie that were his children, too.
Wow.
Well, yeah, that's amazing. I did not know that.
I didn't either. I was just totally mind blown.
Well, if we're talking about actors having their daughters on the same movie, Adam Sandler does it all the time. But one that took me by surprise was the first Deuce Bigalow movie, Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo. The scene where Deuce is in the dude's house, right? And the Girl Scout comes up to the door while he's got porn playing in the background. That was Rob Schneider's daughter. And And those that don't realize it, Elle King is Rob Schneider's daughter. So that was her in the movie.
Oh, no way. That's so cute.
Yep.
Oh my God. No clue.
And
What's
Chelsea
he
and Don, I don't know if you know, but Sam is coming with me.
Awesome.
Yes.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yes, she comes and helps me out because it's a big show for me. So
Oh,
yeah.
that's wonderful.
We're gonna have
pass and come.
So
What?
dinner Friday night.
Dinner Friday night. I'm thinking that's
Yeah.
a splendid idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I love doing Parapsychon because you don't even have to, if you are a vendor and you're there all weekend, you don't even have to really do like the tour or the ghost hunt at night because there's so much that happens even during the daytime, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Just walking around, you will hear stuff. Because I'm up in like the main guard room, and I'm right up against the glass, and the whole time you're there, all day long, you hear. My husband keeps going, "Is there somebody back there?" I'm like, "Uh-huh."
Yep, there sure is.
How does that work?
I think I'm in the West Wing, but I'm not sure.
Do they just have everybody scattered all throughout the prison?
There's different places, and they give you like information about where people are. In the main guard room, and then there's like a side room attached to that. That's a real long hallway. There'll be a bunch of vendors there, and then downstairs, when you first walk in, there's all of those cells there. Right on outside of the cells, there'll be a lot of vendors. My understanding is there's even more vendors this year. I don't know where they're putting them all.
They opened up the west end of it.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I don't know if I'm there or if I'm replacing. I think I'm replacing somebody that's been there before that. So, but I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't ask. I was just like, yes.
Yeah. You're lucky you got in.
Yeah. And it was one of
glad
the
you guys
bigger
are gonna be
spots,
there.
I guess.
Yeah. So I'll be back next year, just not like I have been.
That's awesome.
So yes.
All right, kids, we covered the show. We killed it. Look at us go.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
So, Dawn, thank you for coming back on to talk more about your amazing Better Homes and Gardens haunted house.
Absolutely.
Tina, thank you for joining us and hanging out. And Robert, thank you also for joining us. But that is it for tonight. Do we know what we're doing next week? Do we remember?
Why don't you guys look this up? I was driving.
I don't know. Well, just tune in next week. Make sure you come back Tuesday, 7 o'clock. It'll be another fantastic show, I'm sure. And, you know, in case you haven't done so already, why don't you go ahead and go to Tipsy and Witchy on YouTube and, you know, subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. So that's it for us. So join us next week. Stay safe. Stay spooky.
We love you all.
Bye.
Bye.